Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Business. Welcome DeAnna, how you doing? It's good to be
I'm
back.
good. Good. How are you, Emily? Sorry.
Good. I'm good. So today, Deanna and I are going to be talking about something we have seen time and time again with new business owners, new bookkeepers, new entrepreneurs, which is getting stuck in that overthinking, over planning, and waiting for the perfect moment to start. I know this is something that I have a bad habit of, so I'm excited to talk with you about this, Deanna, today.
Oh, me too. Yep. I mean, seriously, planning can feel so productive, and sometimes it's comforting just to stay in research or prep mode. But when you're stuck in that space for too long, it's actually, did you know this? That it's actually costing you money, time, and freedom. I don't think we think about that enough, but when you really look at it, it is.
Mhm.
So, one of the things I want to talk about today is we're going to talk about why that happens and how to break the cycle so that you can actually start building the business and the life that you want. And I think that's really important that we address that today.
Let's do it. So let's start here. Why do you think planning and researching feels so satisfying? Like we think we're doing something when in reality, nothing is really moving forward. I'm asking for a friend, not for myself at all.
I was just gonna say, oh my gosh. I mean, I get caught up in this all the time too, though. I think it's just because we go in this rabbit hole of searching. I can go into Chat GPT and spend hours, right? Like I'm searching, I'm looking for everything, and you go down these little rabbit holes, and then you put together a plan, and you're like, oh man, I did all this, and it feels so good. But have you acted on it? Are you doing it? Like, just because you made a plan and stuck it up on the wall doesn't do anything if you don't take action on it. And so I think that you have to be intentional with your time. Researching is great, planning is great, but if you don't like literally go through the steps to make sure that you're doing that with like timelines, I think that's important too. And is timelines, right? Like saying, okay, this is going to be done in this amount of time or by this date. Because for me, I'm going to tell on myself, if I don't have a deadline,
It's not
it's
getting done.
easy, right? It's just easy to push it off and go, oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week, right?
And I've been told too, you can set a deadline, but you should probably cut that deadline in half because things take a lot less time than we think they do, especially for people like me who are operators who like to have every tiny detail perfect. And so we set these deadlines thinking, okay, I need a week to think about this and then a week to put this together. And it's something to think about sometimes when you're really trying to build something for yourself.
No, you're right. Like, so if you're like, oh, it's gonna be due next Friday, make it Wednesday. And then you bought yourself some time, right? But you should, because you really need to hold yourself accountable to that. Or you could also say, like, I know you and I've done this with our planning before, is like, here's the soft deadline and here's the hard deadline.
Yeah.
Like that's important. You're like, I would, this is what I'm anticipating hitting, but this is the oh crud moment dateline that it has to get done by, right?
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
right. Here's another one that I think is really good for us to address to everyone here is how can someone tell the difference between preparing intentionally and avoiding action out of fear? What would you say to that, Emily?
That is a good one that I have struggled with towing the line of what am I prepping because I want to make sure something is a good product versus just kind of being fearful. And I think like we said, it's timelines. Looking at your timeline, let's say you want to for in a bookkeeping business, you want to launch your social media. I see a lot of people get stuck saying, "Oh, I need to have my social media headline perfect. I need to have my LinkedIn optimized." When really all you need to do is have a couple titles. You can search on ChatGPT if you have a community like an academy that you're in. You can talk to your team members and say, "You know what? I want to do this. What's your advice?" And then just post it and then you can perfect later. That's the biggest thing is if you are unwilling to take a public action step, that is the sign that you're avoiding from fear because you don't want to be perceived. And I've thought a lot about this where people get stuck. It's because they're afraid of being perceived trying something new. They're worried about um, other people saying, "Oh, they're starting something new." And so they pretend like they're trying to perfect it, but it's really a fear response. So that's what I would say is your timeline and the actual actions you're taking. Are you just Googling? Are you making lists, or are you making a post and clicking post? Are you writing a
Mm.
text and clicking send? So it's those actions in that timeline. Um, Now, Deanna, I gave a little bit of an example. I'm wondering from you, have you ever caught yourself, knowing the success and the experience that you've had, have you caught yourself overcomplicating something just because deep down you were afraid of being seen or judged, or some other reason why you may be overcomplicating something?
All
You
the time. All the time.
have.
And people think that they're like, "Oh my gosh, you've done XYZ, so you sound successful, or you seem to be very successful, what you and your husband are doing." And I'm like, you fake it till you make it. And I use that term because I had to do that for the last 32 years as we were building our businesses together. I'm not gonna give up, right? But I did find so many times that when things did get like where I thought, well, if I don't do this just perfectly right, they're gonna judge me, or they're gonna think I don't know what I'm talking about, and so I would like seriously try to make it seem like it was so much more harder than it really was,
Mhm,
knowing just because I didn't want people to judge me. And
mhm,
I don't know why I would do that, but I did. And I
mhm,
finally just had to just start saying, you know what, I don't care what people think. I'm going to do it. And it just got to take action, and you just got to move forward. And if I don't know something, I'll just simply say, you know what, that is a really good question. I am going to find out and then I will get back to you. I don't want to misrepresent my business or my company, so let me get back to you. And I found that honesty and just moving forward and taking action regardless if it was perfect
mhm.
was so much more respected than me trying to make mountains out of molehills just to avoid doing something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I mean, a lot of us creative types, operational type people struggle with, because you don't want things to go wrong. But at the end of the day, I think of, if you were to take, 10 imperfect steps versus waiting 2 or 3 weeks and trying to plan your way, you're going to be so far ahead, making a couple mistakes along the way, than you would be if you just kind of waited and hoped you planned your way out in invisible scenarios. So I think that's important.
And do you know, and I bet you could ask 100 people and 90 of them would tell you the same thing. I firmly believe that we learn more from mistakes and working our way through it than it just being perfectly there.
Yep.
Like I learned so much from the mistakes I've made and,
Mhm.
and learned how to grow from that than it just being here it is and then just moving forward. Like so to me, I feel like learning as you go, even if it's not perfect, makes me a stronger and better business person. So but I am gonna put you on the spot a little bit because I know how you like perfectionism, and that's not a bad thing because I mean you are just really, really dotting your I's, crossing your T's, but what are some ways that perfectionism that you think shows up that people don't always recognize? It's
Mhm.
not always about being perfect, but sometimes it's just not starting at all. Or what do you see about that with perfectionism?
So in my own life, my own work life, I realize when the perfectionism monster, which is really just fear, fear of being judged, fear of doing something wrong, shows up when I am not taking intentional steps and intentional actions. And what I've done in my life to combat that is that you talked a little bit about this earlier. Um, or maybe on one of our other lives where we've discussed time blocking and deciding on certain actions we're going to take. And if I let myself go into kind of creative planning mode, I can go hours without actually having done any real like steps that move something forward. But I've done a lot of thought work, and you think, oh, huh, I made a lot of progress thinking about that today. No, you didn't. Other areas where I see this happen, I'm trying to think of some examples of perfectionism where it ends up hurting ourselves. I've seen students, for example, in the bookkeeping space. When you're doing bookkeeping work and you need to categorize transactions, sometimes you need to ask a client for, hey, what did that mean? What was this receipt for? What was that draw for? And you're worried about sending financials and sending finalized things out because you're still waiting for little bits of information. And so I've seen new business owners wait and wait to deliver on things, thinking that, oh, the final product isn't 100% perfect because I'm waiting on some other information. Maybe there's some other factors. And then in the end, they end up doing a disservice to themselves, their business, and their clients because they're waiting for things to look perfect. I've also seen it appear in communication. You know, you're not quite sure how you want to word an email exactly right. I see this in the millennial population. I'm a millennial. We like talk about it. The other millennials on our team, you know, we want to communicate really well and we never want to offend anybody. And so we overcomplicate. What are the words going to be in this email? And you take forever. I've seen that happen. I've
I was
seen
going to add to this. Can I add real quickly as you just
absolutely.
said that? So one of the ones that I've seen here in the bookkeeper business is that they were like, I've got to wait and get my pitch perfect, or I've got to make sure that my pricing sheet is perfect before I call them back. I'm like, why? Just call them. Like get
Mhm.
on a phone call and call them and then just explain that it's not perfect, that you're working on, on your proposal and da 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 da, right? Like but I've seen people lose business or lose the momentum because they were wanting to wait for that
Mhm.
perfect opportunity or wait till it's completely done versus just call them. Just chat with them and get it going, right?
And it's just a fear response, especially with newer people. Maybe you haven't done a lot of discovery calls, maybe you haven't done a lot of quoting, but you know, sitting at home thinking about what I might say or what I might quote, that is not going to get you to where you need to go. It's like learning to do the monkey bars whenever you're on the playground at school. You're not going to think your way into doing it. I say that example because my dad always tells a story when I was a kid. I would come home with these like calluses on my hands because I couldn't do the monkey bars and I really wanted to do it because I was so embarrassed. And I use that to remind myself. It's the action, it's the building the calluses because you're taking steps. You're maybe messing up a little bit. You fall on the third one, but next time you're going to get all the way to the fourth. It's taking that action. And sometimes you got to work with the people around you, like DeAnna getting on a call with you, getting on a call with Bill, someone on our team, to practice, to actually take a step and talk to another person, practice your pitch, talk about your quoting, but then just call the person because
Hmm.
the answer is always going to be no, you know, if you don't take that next step.
Yeah, and if you wait too long, I feel like sometimes you overthink it and you get yourself so nervous that then you don't. So
Yeah.
I think just jumping in and doing it and then just going through the process, regardless of the outcome, that getting that momentum going is so much better than
Mhm.
because when I overthink something, I get nervous and I don't want to do. I just like, let's go,
Yeah.
let's talk through it, you know?
So, well, you're going into our next point about overthinking. I want to talk about that a little bit. Why do you think new entrepreneurs can spend more time questioning their idea, what they should do, instead of actually offering their service, posting their social, deciding on their business name, and just forming their LLC? Why do you think that happens?
Well, I think it's because of a couple things. You got fear of failure, right? Like also they are a lot of business owners want to be perfect, but they're afraid of failing for what other people think. Or it could be like imposter syndrome, right? Like they feel like they're just not ready yet.
Mm,
I've seen that a lot with new entrepreneurs. Like when they're new in their business, they're like, I'm just not ready yet. You're never going to be ready if you don't dive in. Like you
mm,
have to do it. Don't be afraid to fail, be afraid to not start. I think that's the key, right? So I think fear of failure is one. I think sometimes too, you can get information overload where you're just like you get so much in your head that you start doubting yourself, and sometimes that can be kind of a bad thing. So I always try to, like, when I'm looking at something, maybe I'm listening to a podcast or I'm reading a book, I'm a big sticky note person, so then I just write down what I wanted to get out of that, and then I focus on that. Because if I try to focus on too much, for me, I'm saying information can be a big overload for me. And then I think also just you know, I think some people confuse planning with progress. Like
mhm.
they think, oh, we talked about this earlier, oh, I planned it, I did all these things, but if that doesn't bring revenue, then you're not really moving forward, right? So real progress comes from taking action, offering your service, even before it's fully built. Like build the plane as you go, build the plane. Like, and then let's go. But you can't just sit there and go, well, I'm gonna draw the plane what it looks like. No, build the plane and take off, right? So I think there's a lot of factors, but I think sometimes we worry about what others think. We worry about, we second guess ourselves all the time, and you can't do that. You just got to take action. You just got to move with it.
Mhm.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions too about that because I've been guilty this before of, I'm not ready yet, right? And that person, you get people that come into our academy, like, I'm not ready yet. But they've been saying that for 4, 5, 6 months. So what
Mhm.
do you tell that person that just keeps using that same excuse over and over again?
Yeah, so when I hear people say I'm not ready yet over and over and over again, whether they've started their business or they're just thinking about starting their business, oh, I'm just not ready yet. Either their current life experience is not painful enough quite yet for them to be forced into action. They don't maybe they think they want it bad enough, but they're not willing to make the necessary sacrifices. And I think people build up those sacrifices in their head more than they are. What that could look like is maybe you're not going to watch 3 episodes of that new TV show on Netflix tonight. And for 2 of those episodes, you are going to choose your business name, file for your LLC, and create a social media post, or text your family group chat, "Hey, I started a bookkeeping business." So like I said, either their experience isn't quite painful enough yet to take action. They aren't willing to, put aside some things that is not moving them forward. And I think too, we find comfort in our habits. And it's hard to create those new neural pathways in your brain too when you're creating a new habit. Because really, if you're going to change your life, you got to change who you've been. You got to change the habit of not getting up early and going on a walk or getting started because you wanted to sleep in a little bit. You got to change spending that extra time on your phone or social media. And it takes intentional action to change your situation, start something new. And I think sometimes people get in the trap of, oh, well, I'll do it when I'm motivated. But motivation doesn't come from, either if your experience isn't painful enough or you're not just going to wake up and feel like doing new things. That's not how your brain is hardwired. So I hope that answered your question. I went a
No,
little
I did.
ramble, but it's that you have to take intentional action and really evaluate what you're doing. And there's a prompt actually that you can put into ChatGPT that I've done recently that helps kind of call yourself out. And let me see if I can remember it. You put it in, um, especially if you use ChatGPT a lot. ChatGPT, tell me, after all the information you've collected on me, which sounds a little scary, um, with radical candor, what would you say is keeping me stuck? And what would you say will put me forward? I'm gonna see if I can look up the actual prompt here in a second. But I did it recently and was like, oh my gosh, I need to do all of this to move myself
You
forward.
got you got to do that. You got to play around in ChatGPT too. It's amazing what it can
It's your
do.
therapist. It'll put you forward, and oh my goodness,
The
I'm gonna
best
look that
therapist.
up.
It's
We'll keep talking
awesome.
about this. Okay, where are we? So, Deanna, either in your own life, in the businesses that you've experienced, but I also know you work with a ton of different entrepreneurs. Do you have any specific examples or types of people where you've seen them succeed just because they took some messy action, even if it wasn't perfect or fully ready?
Trying to think of, I mean, yes, all the time. But I'm trying to think of an example. Yes, the answer is always yes. I've seen it over and over again. But here is one that stuck out to me, and I'll tell you, it was a friend of mine, and we were in London this last year, and we were at a workshop, and she was kind of explaining to me a situation that she was in with clients,
Mhm.
and she needed to get revenue in, and if any of y'all follow me, I'm a big person about like doing texting and doing video text on my phone. And maybe that's my way of being able to talk to people without talking right at first. Like that's the first step for me, which makes it easier. And so I just said, so and so, like, why don't you hit your text list and just say, say, why don't you reach out and just say, hey, I'm looking to take on a couple more clients. I just thought of you. And if you do, I'm willing to add XXX. And I can't say specifically what she was doing, but get the gist. And she literally was like, Deanna, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I need to put a plan together. And she was like, I'd have to put this whole thing and talk to my attorney and figure out if I can even do this, and this. And I was like, it's a text message. Just see if it works. Like, stop overthinking this. Like, I said, give me your phone and I'll do it. And I remember we were sitting there having a cocktail and I was like, just give me your phone and I'll do this. Right. And
That's
so I
my
started,
favorite trick for coaches and I'm just going to do it for you right now.
I'm going to do
You
it.
handle it.
Yeah. And I started, and then she took the phone back, right? She's like, I got this, D. Right. And then she starts finishing it. And we're sitting, I'm like, and then I'm like, I dare you. Send, push send, copy, paste, send. Just do it. I promise you. Like, if anything, it'll just get out of your head that this is what you need to say. Now, she needed to have like a couple more clients that were paying her for her very high-end consulting because she was a consultant in a high-end consulting space. And she needed some cash flow. And she's like, this isn't going to work, D. But fine, if it'll just get you to shut up. And I remember her telling me this, and I was like, okay, I'll shut up if you do it. And so we finished. She sent it out a couple people. She randomly in her thing, in her phone. We have dinner, we go to bed. The next morning we show up at the conference and she goes, I can't believe, she goes, I'm buying you dinner tonight. And I was like, why? And she goes, six people texted me back
Wow.
and it literally is life changing. And I said, okay, how much revenue was that? I just want to know because I want to use it for stories in the past. And I'm not lying when I tell you there was $20,000 clients. She had six that came back. Out of the six, five booked her. She made $100,000 on a text message. I was like, I'm sending you my bill.
Yep. I was
I'm just,
gonna say, where's my 10%?
but she was so
Uh-huh.
afraid. I'm going to interview her sometime for y'all all to listen to her because she will tell you she was so afraid. She's like, I got to talk about this and I got to go talk to my attorney and figure out this. And I'm like, it doesn't cost anything to text your people and just do it. Take action and go do it. And because she did that, because she was like, it was so it was personal. It was like, hey,
Mhm.
this is so and so, and I just wanted to reach out, da da da. And they were like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about you. Yes, let's chat this week. She's like, well, I'm in London, but we can talk later tonight. And they're like, oh my gosh, talk about London. And then they started having these conversations, and it led to them re-engaging with her, and she got clients again out of it from a text. And I'm like, had you have overthought that, you would have not got that $100,000. And because she took action, right? So that would be one that I would say was it just sticks in my brain.
I love that. People love
Awesome.
that authenticity. And sometimes when we try to plan our way into something being perfect, you end up building something that's a little corporate-y or general and it feels perfect, but it's not
Right.
authentic. It doesn't build that connection. So I
I
like that. I
know.
like that story a lot. Sometimes you just need a friend and a cocktail too to say, let me just send it for you. We'll
While you're in London, I just took her phone. Yeah. Emily, while we're here, because I want to wrap up here, but I want everyone to kind of leave with something that they feel like that they can actually do, right? So I want you to kind of leave a party note of what's one small, maybe it could be a low stakes, one small action, like what I said, where they can take today to break out of the planning mode and they actually move and go into that momentum mode. Like what's one little action thing that you would suggest that they do there?
Okay, let me see. It may not just be one, it may be a couple.
Okay,
But the
that's okay.
first thing that comes to mind is acknowledge the space that you're in. Acknowledge maybe I'm acting out of fear, disguised as perfectionism, and acknowledge, this happens to everybody. I'm listening to two people who have talked about it and have then built some businesses and things of their own. That's okay. Now let's take one small action. So maybe it is you want to start a business. Pick your business name and start your LLC. That should only take you
Mm,
30 minutes. You shouldn't spend
yep.
2 days, consulting friends, family, your neighbor, the person at the grocery store, what your business name should be. You can always change that later. So let's file for your LLC. If you are somebody who has built a business, but you want to look for clients and you're worried about what to do, go into your phone, write up a message and text everybody on your list. Say, hey, I've just started this bookkeeping business. I'd love to know if you have any friends or anybody in your life who has a business. I'm offering free consultations. Something simple, and then just do it. Maybe if you got a friend, an advisor, someone on your team, and say, "Hey, I'm really struggling with this right now. I just need you to like help me do it. You got 10 minutes and just force me to do it with you." And if you're part of our group, our team will do that for you.
Mhm.
And then finally, I found that ChatGPT thing that really called me out that I like a lot. Go to ChatGPT and put this in the prompt. With all of the data you've collected on me, tell me what I am at my core, what is holding me back, and what do I need to hit my personal, professional, and financial goals. Do not sugarcoat it. And let me tell you, the response that you get, you will say, okay. And
Wow.
I tell you, and then it can create a plan for you. But
Let's,
those are a couple
I
different
love that.
things you can do.
Well, that's a really great one to end on. So why don't we do that? I know that we're at the top of the hour. Well, let's do this. Do you happen to really quickly have that QR code that we talked about earlier, MK? Is there a way you could pop that up?
Here we go.
I want to let me. Oh, there it is. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
So, everyone that's watching, I hope what Emily and I shared, I hope it's helped. We're very passionate about what we do here, and we really want to see you succeed. And we are those kind of people that we will take that phone from you and
Mhm.
we will hold you accountable. And so is everyone else here at the Stay at Home Bookkeeper Academy. So, we truly want to see you move your business to the next level. So if you're ready to stop planning and actually start doing, I want you to scan that code. You can book a free clarity call with our team. I can promise you this. This is not pressure. It is just a conversation. Because sometimes the only thing between what you have and the life that you want is just that one imperfect step. So we want to leave you with that today. Stop planning, start doing, move forward, take that one imperfect step forward.